Hello, kind and wonderful people. The female figures of terrifying urban legends are often among the most frightening of all. Today, let us travel to Costa Rica. La Llorona, the weeping woman. According to Costa Rican folklore, La Llorona is a ghost from Hispanic American folklore, with roots in Mexico. According to oral tradition, she is the wandering spirit of a woman who drowned her own children. Filled with unbearable remorse, she was cursed and is doomed to search for them forever, wandering at night along rivers, through villages, and across towns, terrifying anyone who sees her or hears her mournful cries. Her legend spread far beyond its place of origin and exists in countless variations. While the details change from region to region, the central supernatural story remains the same and is instantly recognizable, with local additions and adaptations. Related figures include Tarumama in Colombia and La Tulavieja in Costa Rica and Panama. The essential elements of her origin remain similar throughout the Americas, although the place, period, circumstances, and even the motivations of the characters differ from one version to another. Costa Rica alone preserves at least 11 different versions of the legend, and there may be even more that were never recorded, which is hardly surprising considering the immense popularity of this supernatural figure. The San Jose version. In the province of San Jose, the best-known version tells of a humble woman who worked on a large estate. During the dry season, she visited women who introduced her to the luxury and temptations of the capital. She eventually moved there to work and gradually adopted their extravagant lifestyle. She fell in love with a man and became pregnant. Returning home, she hid her pregnancy. When her daughter was born, she threw the baby into the deepest part of a river, partly out of fear of being condemned for having a child outside marriage, and partly because she wished to continue her glamorous city life. Soon afterward, overwhelming guilt drove her insane, and she eventually died of grief. The Princess Tulare, another version, set during the Spanish conquest, tells of an indigenous princess named Tulare who fell in love with a Spaniard named Juan de Pérez Rubio. She asked her father, Pizarro, chief of the kingdom of Pacaca, for permission to marry him, but he refused because she had already been promised to Garabito. The lovers continued meeting in secret, and Tulare eventually gave birth to a son, whom she kept hidden. When Pizarro discovered the truth, he ambushed the lovers. A fierce battle broke out between Juan and Pizarro while Tulare fainted. When she regained consciousness, she confessed the existence of her son, believing this would soften her father's heart. Instead, Pizarro revealed that he had already ordered the infant to be thrown into a nearby waterfall. He cursed his daughter. Driven mad with sorrow, she fled and eventually died, condemned forever to search for her lost child. The Tarubares version. In Tarubares, La Llorona is said to have been the daughter of a wealthy family who fell in love with a poor man who left her pregnant. Ashamed, she concealed her pregnancy. After giving birth, she placed the baby on a tray and set it afloat down a nearby river. Almost immediately she regretted her decision and desperately followed the current, hoping to save the child, but failed. She sat out upon a rock and cried until her tears turned to blood. No one ever saw her again. The Desamparados version. According to the version from Desamparados, she had a son with the Lord of the Mountain. Because the child belonged to him, she hated the boy and threw him into a river. She immediately regretted her actions and has searched for him ever since. The Cartago version. A version from Cartago, dating back to the early colonial period, tells of a Spanish woman whose fiancé traveled to the coast to collect cargo arriving from Spain. Left alone, she was seduced by a young man named Ximeno and became pregnant. Shamed by the townspeople, she threw her newborn son into the Reventazan River. A mysterious voice declared, "Wretched woman, the universe rejects you. It wants you neither dead nor alive. Go and recover the innocents condemned by your own sin." Driven mad by remorse, she threw herself into the river in search of her son and drowned. The Black She-Wolf. During his travels through the Orosi Valley in 1860, Alexander von Francius recorded another version called La Coyote Llorona, the howling she-coyote. According to this story, she was an indigenous woman who murdered her son. As punishment, she was transformed into a black wolf, or coyote, and has wandered the night ever since, terrifying men with her haunting howls. The Guanacaste version. Here she is known as Magdalena, a beautiful woman admired by many men, but engaged only to Jacinto. A jealous rival named Roque assaulted her. When Jacinto learned what had happened, he challenged Roque to a machete duel. Both men were killed. Pregnant and devastated, Magdalena later threw her newborn into a flooded river. Hearing the baby's cries, she rushed to save him, but encountered a mysterious stranger. When she begged for help, he cursed her to wander the rivers forever in search of her son. The Matambi version. Here, La Llorona was a young unmarried woman who became pregnant. Ashamed, or believing herself incapable of raising her child, she secretly gave birth and threw the infant into a river. When she later died, God refused to admit her into heaven. Instead, she was condemned to wander the rivers forever searching for her son. According to tradition, her punishment was especially severe because her son had been destined to become a prophet who would one day save humanity. The Caídas Dulces version. During Holy Week, a woman went to wash clothes beside a stream, bringing her baby with her. A strange supernatural creature, possibly a duende, snatched the child and fled upstream with incredible speed. She desperately chased after it, but never caught up. Unable to find her child, she wandered along the river, crying endlessly. The San Carlos de Alajuela version. In this story, La Llorona was the mistress of an indigenous chief. During a celebration, the drunken chief became enraged for reasons no one remembers and threw her baby into the river. A violent storm scattered everyone into the mountains except her. She remained by the river, moving stone after stone in search of her son. She piled up so many rocks that they eventually filled a cave. She cried so much that she aged overnight before finally dying. That is why the river is called Rio de la Villa, the river of the old woman. The Naranjo version. The final version tells of a young woman who secretly married a man because her father, a miner, disapproved of their relationship. After the mine collapsed and her father died, she later had a son. While crossing a bridge with the child, she slipped, and the baby fell into the river. The common ending, despite all their differences, every version ends the same way. She is condemned to wander beside rivers forever, searching for her lost child. Sometimes she catches a glimpse of him, but he always disappears just before she reaches him. Legend says that one day she will finally find him. Only then will her soul know peace, and her son will return as a new Moses. Her appearance, La Llorona, can change her form. Most often she appears as a disheveled woman wearing a long, filthy dress, with long hair covering her face, fingernails nearly an inch long, and tears of blood streaming down her cheeks. At other times she appears as a small floating ball of light, or even as a shining flying pitcher filled with gold coins. Her powers, legend says, she can walk across water. Her supernatural presence can bring illness or even death to anyone who comes too close, stares directly at her, or insults her. It is also believed that her presence attracts fish, so an unusually successful catch was traditionally considered a sign that she was nearby. Her behavior: she endlessly searches for her son. She may appear during the day, but is most commonly seen at night, especially during the full moon or the new moon. In Cad as Dulces, however, she is said to appear only on the night of Good Friday. She usually wanders beside rivers and lakes, but may also move silently through forests, leaping from tree to tree with such force that they bend beneath her. She can even enter towns, visit coffee plantations, grazing fields, or knock on the doors of homes, asking anyone she meets whether they have seen her son. She roams the riverbanks, uttering mournful wails or repeating the words, "He will come." She lingers near quiet stretches of water and places where unbaptized children once cried, as she is said to be drawn by their scent. Sometimes she sits upon riverside rocks and weeps until they become stained with blood. According to tradition, the ghost of her son can also be heard crying, since unbaptized children were believed to become wandering spirits. Because of this, people believed, and in some places still believe, that hearing a baby crying near a river is a sign that La Llorona is close. If anyone stares directly at her or approaches too closely, she may bring illness or death, mistaking them for Ximeno. In San Carlos, she is said to wander along the Arroyo de la Villa, calling for her son with a conch shell while overturning rocks in search of him before returning to her cave. According to another legend from Desamparados, she can transform into a shining pitcher filled with gold coins, floating through the streets, tempting greedy people near rivers. Anyone who dives into the water to seize the treasure falls in and drowns. It is also said that she can cause children to lose their way, and that she can be driven away by holy water and crucifixes. There are numerous theories regarding the origin of La Llorona, ranging from religious interpretations to euhemeristic and anthropological explanations. I will not include them here to avoid making this story even longer, but I encourage anyone interested to explore the subject further through their own research.